Single dad texted, "I love you," to boss by mistake. She showed up and whispered this. Mark's hands trembled as he stared at his phone in horror. The text meant for his daughter, "Love you, princess. Dad will be home soon," had just been sent to his boss, Catherine Reynolds. The same Catherine who ran their accounting firm with military precision. The same Catherine whose icy professionalism had earned her the nickname, the Glacier, among staff. And now, at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, he just texted her, "I love you." His stomach dropped as three dots appeared, indicating she was typing a response. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more content like this. Your support means everything to creators who pour their hearts into these stories. Mark Wilson hadn't planned on being a single father at 36. But life rarely follows plans, especially after his wife Emma's sudden death 3 years ago left him raising their 8-year-old daughter Lily alone. Between juggling his demanding job as a senior accountant and being both mother and father to Lily, Mark's life had become an exhausting balancing act. Tonight had been particularly chaotic. The babysitter canceled last minute, forcing Mark to bring Lily to the office while he finished a critical report due tomorrow. Catherine had walked by his office twice, her expression unreadable as she noticed Lily coloring quietly in the corner. Mark had promised Lily they'd leave soon, texting her from his desk to the small couch where she sat just to make her smile. Except he'd selected the wrong contact. His phone buzzed with Catherine's reply, "I think you meant this for someone else, Mark." He quickly typed back, "I'm so sorry, Ms. Reynolds. That was meant for my daughter. We're still at the office finishing the Henderson report. My apologies for the confusion. You're still here. With your daughter," came her immediate response. Mark winced. Company policy strictly prohibited children in the office after hours. "Yes. Babysitter emergency. We're leaving now. The report is on your desk." No response came. Mark gathered their things, helping a sleepy Lily into her coat. "Come on, princess. Let's get you home." As they waited for the elevator, Mark heard the click of heels on marble. Catherine rounded the corner, still in her tailored suit despite the late hour. Mark instinctively pulled Lily closer. "Ms. Reynolds, I apologize again for, how often does this happen?" She interrupted, her voice surprisingly soft. "Excuse me. How often are you working late with your daughter here?" Mark hesitated. "More often than I'd like to admit. The babysitter situation has been challenging lately." Catherine knelt down to Lily's level. "Hello there. I'm Catherine. Your dad works very hard for me." Lily, usually shy around strangers, smiled. "I know. He says you're the smartest person in the building." Catherine's eyebrows rose as she glanced up at Mark, whose face had turned crimson. "Does he now?" She stood, smoothing her skirt. "Mark, I'd like to speak with you in my office tomorrow at 9. The elevator arrived with a ding. Mark nodded, his throat dry. "Of course." As they stepped inside, Catherine held the door. "And Mark." She leaned in and whispered, "Family always comes first. Remember that." The doors closed on her enigmatic expression, leaving Mark confused and worried about what tomorrow would bring. That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Mark sat at his kitchen table reviewing his resume. 3 years at Reynolds Accounting had been stable if not particularly friendly. Single parenthood required stability, and job hunting wasn't something he could afford right now. He'd have to face whatever consequences came his way. Morning arrived too quickly. Mark dropped Lily at school with an extra tight hug before driving to the office, his stomach in knots. At precisely 9, he knocked on Catherine's door. "Come in," she called. Catherine sat behind her immaculate desk, a folder open before her. She gestured to the chair opposite. "Your Henderson report was excellent." "Thank you," Mark said, waiting for the other shoe to drop. "I've been reviewing your personnel file. You've been with us 3 years next month. Your performance reviews are consistently outstanding." She closed the folder. "Yet you've never once requested schedule accommodations since your wife passed." Mark shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't want to seem unprofessional." "Unprofessional," Catherine repeated, testing the word. "Mark, do you know why I started this firm?" He shook his head. I was fired from my previous position when I needed to care for my mother during her cancer treatments. Apparently, family obligations made me unreliable. Her fingers made air quotes. I built Reynolds Accounting with the explicit intention of creating a workplace that respects that employees have lives outside these walls. Mark stared at her, speechless. Yet somehow, you've been struggling alone, bringing your daughter to work, staying late, probably missing her events and activities. Catherine leaned forward. That stops today. Mark braced himself. I'm implementing a new flexible work program, and you're going to be my test case. 3 days in office, 2 days remote. Core hours from 9 to 3, with remaining hours flexible. We'll also establish an emergency childcare room here for all employees. Mark blinked rapidly. I don't understand. What don't you understand? That I'm human. That I notice when my best accountant is burning himself out. Catherine's expression softened. Or that I remember what it was like trying to balance career and family obligations without support. All of the above, I guess, Mark admitted. Everyone calls you the Glacier behind your back. Catherine laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her face. I'm aware of the nickname. Being a woman in charge requires a certain demeanor. But that doesn't mean I don't see what's happening with my team. For the first time in 3 years, Mark felt something loosen in his chest. Thank you. This would make an enormous difference for us. There's one condition, Catherine said, her professional tone returning. You need to join the company softball team. We're desperate for players, and Lily mentioned you used to play college ball. Mark smiled. She talks too much. She adores her father. That much was obvious. Catherine stood, extending her hand. Do we have a deal? As they shook hands, Mark realized he'd completely misjudged his boss. Behind the professional exterior was someone who understood struggle and valued family, perhaps more than anyone else in the company. Over the following weeks, the new schedule transformed Mark's life. He was present for Lily's school events, could make dinner at a reasonable hour, and even joined a support group for single parents. The dark circles under his eyes faded, and Lily's teachers commented on her improved mood and concentration. The company softball team became an unexpected highlight. Catherine, it turned out, was a fiercely competitive pitcher with a wicked curveball. After games, the team often gathered for drinks, and Mark found himself enjoying Catherine's dry wit and insightful observations. She wasn't cold, just intensely private and protective of the boundaries between her professional and personal life. 6 months after the texting incident, the team celebrated winning the corporate league championship. Amid the cheers and champagne, Catherine approached Mark. The flexible work program has been so successful we're rolling it out company-wide next month, she said, clinking her glass against his. That's fantastic. It's made such a difference for me and Lily. Catherine nodded, her expression turning serious. Life is too short to miss the important moments, Mark. I learned that with my mother. She hesitated. Which is why I wanted to ask if you and Lily might like to join me for dinner this weekend. There's a new pizza place with an arcade that my nephew highly recommends. Mark studied her face, seeing vulnerability beneath her usual confidence. Catherine Reynolds, are you asking us on a date? I'm proposing a mutually beneficial social engagement with potential for future development, she replied with a small smile. Very professional. Mark laughed. Lily would love that. And so would I. That Saturday, watching Catherine teach Lily how to properly throw a ski ball, Mark felt something he hadn't experienced since losing Emma, possibility. Not replacement, never that, but the chance for something new. Something different but equally valuable. Later, as Lily played nearby, Catherine turned to Mark. You know, I never responded properly to your text. My text. The accidental, I love you. Her eyes twinkled with amusement. Very forward of you. Mark groaned. I'm never living that down, am I? Not a chance. Catherine leaned closer and whispered, but just so you know, I'm starting to think it might not have been such a terrible mistake after all. As Lily ran back to their table, cheeks flushed with excitement, Mark looked between her and Catherine and felt, for the first time in years, that his family wasn't broken, it was simply evolving. One accidental text had cracked the Glacier, and revealed Ku the warm, compassionate woman beneath the professional exterior. Sometimes, Mark realized, our biggest mistakes lead us exactly where we need to go. Life rarely follows our carefully laid plans. Sometimes it sends an accidental text that changes everything. And sometimes, if we're very lucky, it gives us a second chance at happiness, often from the most unexpected direction.